Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is 3 p.m. here in Chicago, Illinois. That means it's time for another live stream. Today is Friday, April 23rd, 2021. We made it to the end of the week, guys. How are you guys doing? I'm doing great. I've got a fresh afternoon coffee. I love my afternoon coffees and feeling really good. It's a nice day out today. It was actually pretty enjoyable. I took the baby out, played at the park for a little while. We just got back a little while ago, and pretty good day. Pretty good day out there. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this podcast. For those of you listening to the audio only version, hopefully you guys are having a good run out there today. And for everyone watching this on YouTube after the fact, welcome to you guys as well. Hopefully you are right now, by the time you see this, enjoying the weekend and just solidly into relaxation mode. All right, let's see who we got here. Stevie76 is here. He's in a Nelly kind of mood today. And where did that go? I saw it. Yeah, Nifty News also feeling the Nelly for today. Rick Sutter says, hey, everyone, had a great easy run with 8 strides. That's what I had today, too. And Rick said, looking forward to a return of nice weather on Sunday for the long run. All right, so here's my thing. Today's what I almost did my virtual race today because the weather was like, it was like 40 something, like low 40s for today. And the winds were mild. And I was like, this might be the best weather I have all weekend. So I was thinking about doing it today, but you know, the weekend forecast always changes so much here in Chicago. So I'm going to keep my fingers crossed and hope that on Sunday, which is the day that I originally planned, the weather's going to be better. Saturday would be the day that I would prefer to run my virtual race, but it's supposed to rain on Saturday. And then Monday is supposed to warm up quite a bit in a nice way. So I'm thinking I might run it Monday. I'd rather run it Sunday. So we'll see what happens with the weather. It's always changing, but that's kind of the situation there. But yeah, Rick, I hope you have good weather for Sunday long run. Frank says the Cheshire Marathon is being live streamed. That's like the one, that's the marathon with like 6 names, right? Cheshire, there's a W word in there somewhere, Elite, Wrexham Elite Marathon, something like that. That's cool. I thought I had seen somewhere that it was going to happen. But I don't know what we'll see on the live stream. You know what I mean? Like it's an elite marathon, right? So how many people I don't know how many people are going to be in it, but, Frank says it's 8:30 a.m. GMT, which I think is like 6 hours ahead of Chicago. I think. So it's 2:30 in the morning here. No, I won't be up. But Frank's the same thing. It'll be awfully hard for him to stay up for. I hear you. David Primo says, good afternoon, Run Fam. Awesome, David. How are you? JC says, howdy, folks, and happy Friday. Big storms expected today, but should be great for racing tomorrow. Very cool, JC. Good luck. And it says, hey, Kofuzi and everybody had a nice run out to the Bothy with Pip tonight to start the weekend. That sounds amazing. Very nice. And Martha, good to see you again, says, I felt breath missing out on the live stream yesterday. I got little glimpses of a limerick in the making about Scotty B. Meanwhile, it's snowing lightly here. Yeah, you know what? I was just watching one of Sage's videos yesterday, and well, he's still doing a lot of skiing, and then he had so much snow where he was. And I was just like, man, Colorado is such a weird state. The weather, I mean, as much as I I complain about the weather in Chicago a lot. Everyone complains about the weather in Chicago a lot, especially how much it changes so quickly. But like Colorado is like so weird. I mean, we got snow yesterday too, but like nothing like what I saw in Sage's video. Hopefully you're staying warm out there, Martha. All right, let's see. Roberto Davila is here. Good to see you again, Roberto. And Recycle on Wednesdays here. What's up, everybody? Jason Dahl. Cool. All right. Looks like we got Ed Bud in here. Says, pause my showing of Michael Palin's 80 days around the world. Oh, awesome. Good to see you, Ed. How are you? You had a really good week of training. I was watching that video the other day. I don't know if everyone else watched Ed's week of running video. That was a good one. Sounds like a fun week of running. And Crabosity says, do you plan on doing an Adios Pro after 100 miles review? Yeah, I think I'm at like 70 miles in that shoe. And so I was thinking if I take them out for the half marathon virtual race this weekend, that gets me at like, after the warm-ups all said and done, like 85, 88 miles, something like that. And so then it'll just be one more run in there, and then I'll be 100 miles. So basically 2 more runs to go until I hit 100 miles in that Adios Pro. Yeah, so not a lot more, because I just really enjoy running in the shoe and I've been having a lot of fun with it. So the miles have added up relatively quickly for a carbon plated shoe at a time when there aren't any races. I'd say, relatively quickly that miles added up. CV76 said, I got up early to watch the SpaceX launch, so I'm sure I can get up early to watch the race. I was already up for the SpaceX launch. I didn't realize that there was a launch today, but I was out in the living room on the couch editing my video for this morning, and then I got treated to like a shuttle launch. And that was pretty cool. I haven't sat down to watch a shuttle launch live, contemporaneously in a long time. So that was really cool. Really, really cool. All right. Brett Reed said, I went from buying a new lawn mower Monday night to shoveling snow Tuesday morning to golfing Tuesday night. Life in the Midwest. That's quite a circuit that you got there. All right. Let's see what else we got. Lucas H is here, says, yo, what's going on, my running friends? And Bryce says, happy Friday from a rainy Minnesota. Hope you're doing okay up there, Bryce. All right. Okay. Ben Y says it has all those names because the Wrexham Elite was the previous name since it moved. Okay. So now it's just called the Cheshire. Is it a Cheshire? Like the cat? Cheshire cat? Right? I don't know. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, it'll be good to see. Yeah. My understanding though is that spectators aren't allowed at that race, right? So people can't go watch. Not that I could go right now anyway, but it's a bummer that people can't go and watch that, I think. Ed Bud says, speaking of mowing lawns, Ed Bud said he sadly retired the Peg 36 to lawn duties now. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. All right. Daryl says, good morning from Tokyo. Good morning, Daryl. Going for a half marathon time trial today. Very cool. Good luck, Daryl. Hope you have a good one out there. I just saw, today's video was talking about those translator earbuds, and I've been trying to watch Suguru Osako's YouTube channel. And I did try to use it again today, and it worked not a little bit, but not really. And so one thing that he did do is he ran a half marathon time trial recently, and he's been growing out his hair. I don't know if he's been growing it out because through COVID or what, but he used to have a shaved head and now he has longer hair. So he's running this half marathon time trial in a white singlet, black half tights, arm sleeves, and his hair in a little mini samurai bun. So I'm like, all right. So I think I'm going to do my half marathon time trial in a similar outfit. I didn't think I was going to wear arm sleeves, but I wasn't sure if I was going to wear a singlet or not, but I might do the same thing. But he ran, I don't know. I thought he was in Kenya, but he was very clearly in the United States for this half marathon time trial. And, you're watching this video and you can hear whoever is holding the camera in a car that's following along with him and, shouting out splits to him as he's going. And at the end, Suguru Osako ran a half marathon time trial by himself, paced by a bicycle, but by himself at 61:19, which is amazing. And then at the end of the video, Craig Engels is the guy holding the stopwatch. So yeah, he's everywhere on the internet. So it was just a really nice Easter. There was no explanation at all in the video of why Craig Engels was there. I don't know if in another video he explained that he was going to the United States or going to Portland or what, but yeah, it was pretty. You didn't need to. There was very little Japanese spoken in that video, but it was just. I think he's got a beautiful stride, and it's just fantastic to watch. So yeah. All right, let's see. We've got Shannon's here. She says, I'm so disappointed in the timing of my sister's visit. Was so excited for you to come to do the 10K in Ferguson. Yeah, I'm really bummed about it too. I really wanted to do that race. I think that it would have been a good one to do, especially this year. Basically any of the years that race has been in existence would have been a good year to do it, I think. But I think it would have been a lot of fun. and I'm having a hard time finding another race in like kind of an adjacent state that fits, in the remaining weeks before my next race, which would be in June. And so it's kind of throws a wrench in the schedule. But I haven't seen her in so long, and if I don't see her now, I won't see her until she gets back from Tokyo. So it's kind of like not now or never, but now or another, like, I don't know how many months is it from now to the end of the Olympics, like almost 4 or 5 months. So it's a bummer, but we'll have to find something else to run in the St. Louis area. All right. My mom is here. Hi, Mom. How are you? And all right, Keel Kondrick. Where's your question, Keel? Keel, write it in there again. I'm really sorry I missed it. All right. What else we got here? Here we go. Keel's question. What sort of weather will you run in, not run in? For example, if it's about to get super windy and heavy rain later, and I'm not running in that. I mean, it depends. If it's a workout, like in normal times, and if I had a workout scheduled and I knew it was going to storm, I might hit the treadmill on that. But for the most part, unless it's thunder, like lightning and thunder out, I'll be out. Because I run with I run with like a big extendable metal stick. So like, it's not a good idea, especially out by the lake where there aren't a lot of trees to run. So that's pretty much the only weather that I won't run in. I might shift the run, like maybe I can move my schedule around. So like if the morning's going to be real heavy rains, I can run in the afternoon. But if it's summertime, I'll just run pretty much through anything unless it's not. That's dangerous. Don't do that. She's climbing on the couch, guys. But yeah, so unless it's that, I'll just kind of run through whatever. I feel like it builds character kind of, but then again, I will try to shift the schedule around whenever I can. The nice thing about running in the morning is, generally speaking, like the most violent storms tend to not happen like very early in the morning. A lot of times it takes like the humidity of the day to build up, kind of like how it rains every day in like hotter areas, like in humid areas, like in Florida. Kind of like that. That doesn't happen in the morning. That happens in the afternoon. So like running in the morning kind of helps out with that. But my least favorite weather condition is like 35 degrees and moderate rain. I just can't stand it. All right. Scott Allison says the Kentucky Derby Marathon is in person tomorrow morning as well. It's supposed to be pouring rain though. Oh, that sounds rough. All right. Oh, Shannon is in Toledo. Awesome. Very cool. But the translator earbuds are an interesting curiosity. Yeah, I think there's other apps that do that. So like you can like talk to the phone, and it's more about like that phone experience part where it's like the part that's being translated can either be read out loud or transcribed in another language. And it's just bizarre to me that like that can exist. But it left a little bit to be desired, but at least in the way that I was trying to use it. Like I was thinking I'm going to start watching like telenovelas on the Spanish channels. I'm going to start watching all this other stuff, and just have the earbuds in and feel like a god. That's what like my thinking was, but it just doesn't quite work out with. I think it works out well when a person is speaking into it deliberately, but like picking up like television noise when there's sound, and I think it's a little bit harder for it. At least I had a lot of hard time getting it to work consistently. Crabosity wants to know, what do you think of running shoe leaks, a la the Zoom Fly 4 and the Boston 10, etc.? I think the Zoom Fly 4, I don't know. It looks like it's going to be a pass for me this year. That one just looks like they got a lot of stuff going on, and especially if it's going to be heavy, I'm not sure I'm going to have enough time for it. I've been saying it in other earlier live streams that like this year, I think I need to be a little bit more deliberate in terms of the shoes that I take on. Because I just have a lot that I'm just not getting to them, and so like I really want to be like, instead of like, oh yeah, sure, I'll look at that. Oh yeah, I'll look at that. I want to like pick the ones that I think I'm going to be the most excited about. And that Zoom Fly 4, I'm not sure if that's really going to do it for me. Like this, I thought the same thing with the Tempo Next Percent. I was just like, I don't know what that does for me. But the Boston 10, I'm so excited for that shoe. I think it looks, some people are like, that looks terrible. I'm like, I think it looks great. And I'm very intrigued about the higher stack height, Light Strike and Light Strike Pro. I think that's the only things that are in there. Incredible. So I'm super excited for that shoe to come out. I can't wait. I think right now of the shoes that are like left, I think on my radar, you know, in terms of like what hasn't even been like, you know, announced technically, that's probably the shoe that I'm most excited for. I mean, the Adios Pro 2 as well. Like that, I guess like that whole, I mean, all the Adidas shoes. I mean, yeah, other people have been making a lot of noise early in the year. Adidas is going to come storming in at the end, I think. Not at the end of the year, but like come like June, I think. Rick Sutter says, regarding those earbuds, do you think they'd be quick enough to translate your conversation? I do work in Peru during the summers, but my wife doesn't yet speak Spanish. Yeah, I think so. Here's the thing with those translator earbuds is that like if someone's talking really fast without a break, it'll just kind of like keep it in a backlog and wait. And then once there's like a pause in the conversation, then it'll like vomit out like a paragraph or 2 paragraphs worth of translation. So like it's not quite like, it's not like if I were looking at a person and they were talking to me, it's not like that thing is also like talking at the same time. It kind of waits a little bit for a pause and then it'll start talking. And then if someone else starts talking some more, you know, it'll put it in the queue of things that it can tell me later. So there's a little bit of a lag. The translation is pretty much instantaneous, but it's like in terms of when it decides to deliver it to you, it takes a second. But I think that it could certainly help people that are just trying to get around. Because you can either just like, I just had it in my ears. So like if someone were talking to me, as long as like the room wasn't like super noisy, I think it would pick up the Spanish part and then I could hear, you know, the translation. So I haven't tried it with a Spanish speaker. So like that's something that I'd like to do as well. And just like really see how that thing does. But you know, like in that room over there, there's only so many languages that I can test. I mean, there's 2 languages I could test. And then the Japanese in there was just for fun. Cause like I felt like, I feel like I needed to tie it to running somehow. So I decided to an actual like translation need that I had. But Rick, what I would suggest is if you want, I think that there are apps that do like a similar thing at a relative, like I think the translation part of it, I don't think is the secret sauce to that app. I'm not sure what they would consider is the secret sauce to that whole product. If it's the app or the earbuds or like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure where exactly the technology lies. I think it's kind of like, I don't know if it's distributed or if it's like, yeah, the earbuds are just a way of hearing the noises and it's the app and the servers that the app runs on that's really doing all the heavy lifting. So there could be ways that you can like test out, you know, if you're a Spanish speaker, like the kinds of conversations that your wife might encounter. You know, I think there's ways you can test it too before you like, you know, plop down the money for those earbuds. All right, let's see. All right. Let's see. Edbud says Zoom Fly Floor has a similar midsole. And Mike has the right idea on the 10. I think it's going to be good, man. I think it's going to be good. Nifty Ninja says, I use windy days for zone 3 workouts. Easy to get the heart rate up going into the wind and super fast paced wind is behind you. That's a good way to like, you know, make lemonade out of lemons. There you go. And Roberto Davila says, trust me, Kofuzi, you're not missing much on those Spanish telenovelas. Yeah, you can have some of those. I mean, the other thing that I was thinking about too is, you know, a lot of Korean dramas they tend to be subtitled in English these days. So if one is inclined, you can kind of watch those as well. But I thought that would probably be an interesting kind of application for those translator earbuds too. All right. Saragon McKinney says, any suggestions on fluid and nutrition for half marathon? Great question. I've been thinking about it myself. Because like when the temperatures are like 40 degrees, which is about when it's probably going to be for my half marathon virtual race this weekend, I'm like, I could probably get away without liquid. I don't know that I need it. If it's like 60 degrees at the start or, you know, 70 or more by the time you start, then I think you're going to need some liquid just because I think you're gonna get overheated. So I would probably, for a half marathon, if it's a warmer marathon, I would probably plan, and it's self-supported, I would probably think about bringing, about 10 ounces of water along with you. I don't know that you necessarily need more than that, but I'm also thinking I'd bring some gels too. I would probably bring 3 gels, planning on taking 2 of them, and then kind of like playing it by ear depending on how you're feeling during the race. So like I like to have, I usually like to mix and match gels, if nothing else, just have different flavors during the run. So right now I'm thinking about bringing one Unived that has a lot of caffeine in it, a Science and Sport that has a lot of caffeine in it, and then a Humachia Plus gel that has a small amount of caffeine in it. All of those are a little bit more voluminous in terms of like how much content is in each packet, and they're not so chewy. So that also like helps that I don't need to bring any liquid. So that's like my main goal, is that I don't want to bring a pack with me. I might bring a flip belt with some water in it. So that's kind of like my thoughts on it. So for me, thinking about 10 ounces, I'm thinking about, about maybe like 4 ounces of liquid, maybe at like the 4 or 5 mile mark. And then again at the 10, and then having gels, maybe around the same time, maybe a little bit earlier, maybe like every 4 miles or so. Just depending on how I'm feeling in terms of focus. So that's kind of how I break it up. A lot of it is, you just bring a little extra just to be safe. And then I'd rather, have an extra unused gel crossing the finish line than really wishing I had another one. So that's kind of my take on it. But yeah, so that if I bring those 3 gels, that'll be like, 60 grams of carbs, which is, I think, a lot. But, for me, I'm looking at about an hour and a half of activity. So I think, like the elites, when they're running, they're shooting for like 60 grams per hour. So I'm not quite taking that much in. But you can always supplement that by bringing a sport drink instead of just water. All right, Corey Allen says, the Topo Athletic is already storming literally with the cyclone. Seem to be sold out everywhere. I keep looking at Topo and I'm never sure. I'm always like, that looks interesting. I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure where to begin with Topo. But I've been looking. I've been keeping an eye on him. Matt says, thoughts on the hype rice? Hype. I still see it as hype rice. I know I see you spelled it correctly with the camel case, with the I capitalized, but I see hype rice. Thoughts on the hype rice Hypervolt massage gun? I've used those before, but like I don't know. Maybe I'm not using them right, but I don't know that I see the need for quite the price premium on those. And I'm just ultimately I'm not huge into the massage gun kind of category. I've given away all of the rest of them, but I have only one massage gun left, and that's the Bob and Brad one. It's like $120 on Amazon or something like that. It does what I need it to do. Granted, like maybe if I had like the like the ultra nice one, maybe I'd find more, maybe I would enjoy it more or find it more useful. But like I don't think I'm missing out on it. Gory99 says, from your last video, I think the SL20 looks like it has more stack height than it actually is. I agree. It looks like it has more stack height in the forefoot than the Velocity does. So, and the Velocity is like a 16 millimeter stack height in the forefoot, I think. And the SL20 looks like more than that. It's hard to tell because like running shoes curve up at the front. So, but like, yeah, I mean, and those numbers are coming from my stack height measurements are coming directly from. So, I don't know how else to say it, but Adidas does a lot with a very little amount of midsole. So like the Boston, I think, is only a 14 millimeter stack height. And then I think the Ultra Boost it's not much more than 14 or 16. I want to say 16. maybe I have that wrong, but I remember it's like it's always just seems so remarkably low. I think like the RC 2.0 is like a 12 millimeter stack height shoe. So like they just have low stack height shoes. I mean, and I don't think you can like discount like the rubber out. I think that's all part of like the stack height thing. So and yeah, I don't know. It just the more time I spend like talking about stack heights, the more I'm like, hey, I don't really need to be. Do I really need to be talking about stack heights? You know, I feel like I should say like it feels like there's a little bit of midsole, feels like there's a decent amount of midsole, or it feels like there's a lot of midsole. You know, I feel like anything more than that is probably unhelpful. You want another one? All right. She just wants snacks there. Today her snacks, not Spawn, are made good. We like these. Made in a peanut and tree nut free facility. They don't have soy, wheat, gluten, egg, dairy, shellfish, or sesame in them. And they don't taste like gluten-free cookies, which is nice. Just saying. All right. Martha says, I got fairly fluent studying Spanish with total immersion in Mexico, but I still couldn't understand those telenovelas. I know I wasn't missing much. That's funny. That's funny. All right. Gareth Evans says, Mike, Cambridge Audio Melomania headphones are worth a listen for running. Melomania sounds like a word. I don't know. I don't think I would name an earbud, Melomania. That sounds like a weird name, but Cambridge? You're not the first person to suggest Cambridge. I don't know if people have been suggesting the same one, but I'll take a look. Cambridge. Okay. Ozen Backstress is here. Says, hi, all late to the party. What's up with the earplugs translating for real? Yeah, they work. They work better. I think the way that I felt like I had the most success is when I talked to it and it translated me to someone else. Like that's what I thought worked. You know, so like, yeah, it was pretty bizarre. Again, I'm sure it exists other places, and I'm sure someone's watched that and be like, why is this guy so excited? It's 2021. But like, I didn't know that thing existed, you know? Melvin Pato says, how to recover from an ankle injury. Well, it's a little bit tricky, Melvin. I think a lot of it's going to depend on how you got the ankle injury and what it is, you know, like, so like if it's something like you twisted your ankle while running, you know, so it's like traumatic, you know, that is something that's going to need probably some time and rest for that to heal. And hopefully it's not something that requires more than just rest to recover. I think if it's something that like your ankles hurt, they're just painful, like they're sore or tender to run on, like they're bruised, then it could be either your body is a little bit just worn out from if maybe you've been increasing your frequency or your number of times per week running or your mileage overall or both, or you might need to change your shoes. So it depends on kind of the nature of the injury. Other things could be like maybe even if the shoes are new, maybe they're not agreeing with you. Maybe they've got stability elements in them that don't work with you. So it's going to depend on the nature of the injury. Affluent Journey says, just got my second Pfizer shot an hour ago. So far, it doesn't hurt like the first. Let's cruise, baby. awesome. My wife got her second shot yesterday, and she's she's working today. She's been a little bit kind of like lethargic, you know, a little bit tired, but overall she's been in pretty good shape. Yesterday, it was the second night that was not yesterday. The first shot, it was the second night that was worse for her. So we'll see how she feels tonight. We're already kind of planning. We're going to take it easy. I mean, where are we going to go? We're not hitting the town, but we'll take it easy tonight. Probably order in and, you know, just have a relaxing night. Yeah, but it's exciting. It's exciting. Awesome. Colin McLaughlin says, my running shoes are wearing fast on the outer side. Could this cause issues down the line? I think yes and no. I mean, from like a wearing down of your shoes, like a durability perspective, you know, it can, because it's wearing one part out more than the others. But I think it was one of the doctors of running. Those guys are all doctors of physical therapy. I don't know if you watch that channel. Great channel. I think it was on Twitter, maybe it was on Instagram, where they were saying that like there was a recent study saying that like that there is like almost zero correlation between the wear pattern of your shoes and any potential as prediction of injury. So like I think basically my guess is like there was some sort of study that was like, look at this shoe, tell me if this person is going to develop an overuse injury or not. And I don't think anyone was able to predict. So, I mean, I think one answer is no, but maybe that study isn't quite asking the right question. I would think that if you're worried about wear, I think what you should be, I mean, the wear isn't going to be the problem itself. The problem is, does it mean that there's something going on in your stride that needs to be corrected, right? I think that's like the ultimate question that you really want to know. And the circumstantial evidence is the wear on the running shoes. So I would say if you're concerned about those things, the way that you can kind of prophylactically avoid any issues is to make sure you're working on mobility and strength, right? Making sure that like, one leg doesn't become dominant, that you're working on strengthening and making sure that like you're using all the stabilizer muscles. So that's like a good warm up or like a cool down type of leg strength routine. Doesn't have to be with weights, but something that you do regularly, I think can definitely help with that if that's one of your concerns. All right. Jacques Taljard says, thoughts on high versus low stack drops? A lot of newer shoes seem to favor high drops around 8 millimeters. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a lot of newer shoes. I think, Nike's been making 10 millimeter drop shoes for a really long, I guess I've only been running in the Pegasus since like the 32, but I can't think of a time when it wasn't a 10 millimeter drop. And like, I think, what is it? Someone's ringing. Oh, my daughter's watching a YouTube video. And then like shoes like the Brooks Ghost, I think that shoe's been a 12 millimeter drop for the entire time, and they're on 13, right? Something like that. So, there's been higher drop shoes around. And I generally tend to like shoes that are right around the 8 millimeters. Sometimes I say I like 6 millimeter shoes too, but like, I think I'm unusual. I can run in a 0 drop shoe one day or 1 week, and then run in a 10 millimeter drop shoe the next. And I won't really, my body will notice it, but it won't really hurt me. Some people like that will like really bother them. So it doesn't bother me, but I tend to like 8 millimeter drop shoes and 10 millimeter drop shoes. I'm starting to think, going back to some of the discussion we had a long time ago when the Metaspeed Sky came out, in terms of the Metaspeed Sky versus Metaspeed Edge and ASIC's division of like stride runners and cadence runners. I think I might be a cadence runner. So, I think like that also might factor into like what you prefer in terms of like what is your overall running style like. I don't think it's just like a matter of like, I like purple versus green. I don't think it's a matter of just like arbitrary preference. I think your body tends to prefer certain things for a reason, I think. But and then versus high stack, yeah. So I don't think you're asking about high stack versus low stack, but yeah. So like, I tend to like one versus the other, but I also tend to not really care too much about it. All right. Will says, does anyone get really hungry in their taper? Been snacking all week. Yeah, I'm always really hungry, but definitely during the taper, I get very, very hungry. I also tend to want to like, I feel great. It'd be a nice day to have a beer, So I definitely get that a lot too. Like every day for every day this week, I've been like, maybe I should have a beer during live stream today. But like, I don't, not that I completely abstain from alcohol during training, but like, I'm like, it's during the taper. I'm really trying to make sure I'm getting good sleep and getting good rest. Having a couple of beers isn't completely antithetical to that, but I know that it affects my sleep. And so I get so little sleep anyway. I'm trying to like protect it, especially during a taper time. But yeah, I know what you mean. Here's a good question that I don't think I can answer this one. Burp says, hi, Michael, can you do a video on the pros and cons of belonging to a running club? Thank you. I can hypothesize, but I've never belonged to a running club before. So, I belong to the Kofuzi Run Club, you guys here, but I don't have. I've never been a member of a running club. There's a couple in Chicago that I think are all pretty cool. And my running buddy and I at one point were like, we should join one of those, and then we just never have. Yeah, so like, yeah. I mean, there's lots of good reasons to join them. I'm more of a lone wolf kind of guy, I guess. So it's interesting to me. It doesn't completely appeal to me. I think if I moved to a new city, then I would probably join one, just as a way to meet people and kind of figure out what are the good places to run and like, get plugged into the local running community there. But yeah, I've never actually been a member of a run club. Runner Dre says it's nice that so many people are getting their shots. Congrats to all. Yeah, I think it's awesome. I think it's really awesome. My wife and I are still like, I keep like, my wife and I, like, my wife doesn't want to like talk about it, about being like, well, what are the things we're going to do, like basically 2 weeks from now once she's vaccinated. She's like, let's just think about it later. And I think she's having a hard time like coming out of I mean, this is basically how we felt like what we've been doing, what we felt like we needed to do to survive for the last year. And now we're like, okay, now we don't have to do any of those things, I guess. We still have to do some of those things, but so we're I like the visual I have is like we're about to like jump off of a little bit of like a ledge into a pool, kind of thing. We're not like cliff diving, but we're both really scared about it, and we're holding hands and we got our noses plugged, or we're about to jump. That's kind of like the feeling that I have, my wife and I. I mean, I know it's probably a little bit silly and a bit of an overreaction, but that's where we're at. Those are our, I guess, authentic feelings on it. So, but it's the plus side of like 200 million shots getting administered in the U.S. in like the last 100 days is that means like a lot of people are going to be ready to get back to normal real fast, and it's going to be all at once, or it's going to feel like all at once. And so, I'm just going to I got to get ready for that, I guess. Oh, yeah. All right. Nihat Bahadir says, hi, I'll see you testing the New Balance Trail more. Would you recommend it as a slightly pronator? Yeah, I don't remember it being a shoe that was particularly, squishy on the insole. So I think it'll be fine. I mean, there's lots of stack height to it. And so I feel like that, and that foam was soft, but not squishy. So like, yeah, it'll be fine for you, I think. Derek Dixon says, it's been a minute. What's up, CoFam? What's going on, Derek? Good to see you. Affluent Journey says, Endorphin Speed, a new cobalt color just came to the door. Color a bit lighter than the traditional cobalt. Nice. That's a nice way to start the weekend. Cool. He says he's going to try them out right after this. Nice. JJ says, I'm doing my first half marathon over a week after my second dose. Wish me luck. I think a week that's a good way to get into the taper, I guess, because then like it forces you to take some days off. I had to take 2 days off for running. I don't think that's everybody, but I was just reading about, who was it I was talking about their side effects? Bromka got a second dose of, I don't know if it was Pfizer or Moderna, but one of the 2-shot ones. And he said the first day after he took it easy, and the second day he ran a workout. So he was fine. But yeah, cool. Yeah, good luck on that half marathon. All right. Secure Elite says, getting the vaccine seems like a distant dream for me. Don't think I'll be able to get it until October at the earliest. Yeah, what's bizarre? My wife and I were talking about it. And like we're, all the news outlets in the US are like, we're reaching the point where supply is now outstripping demand in the US because we've gotten everyone, like we're getting like close to getting everyone that really wants it has gotten it. And now we're like, now we got to do some convincing. And I'm like, you know what? I feel like if that's the problem in the US, quote unquote, we should start diverting our doses to elsewhere in the world. It's tough. I mean, like, don't make anybody, but you know what? If you don't do it now, you're not going to be able to get it because there's other people that are literally dying for it. That's kind of how I feel about it. But I hope you get it soon. Joey. All right. Sue N says, looks like the Rebel version 2 comes in a wide width. I've only seen it in certain colors and sizes on Running Warehouse. Interesting. I'm waiting for the black one to come out. Jamie has the black one. I didn't know that. He posted a picture on Instagram. He's got the black Rebel 2s, which I don't like what they did with the design on the black one. And I don't like the black and red one. I only like the white one with the habanero, but I don't want that one. And that's the only one that's available so far in the US. The other ones, if you look at the other colors, it's all notify me on the New Balance website. I guess I could check on Running Warehouse to see if those are shipping it, but I can't imagine that those are shipping if they're not shipping from New Balance. But yeah, I'm waiting for that one that Jamie has, because I think that one looks a little bit nicer. But the outsole, to me, when I look at the outsole on the Rebel version 2, it's exactly the same outsole as the outsole that was on the New Balance 890 version 11? 8, version 8, the 890 version 8. And that's a shoe. I think I just got rid of it because I just haven't been running in it. Whatever they did to the fuel cell foam in it, it was super stiff. And so I ran, I think, twice in it. And then I was like, it just got shelved because I had other shoes that I wanted to run in more. But the outsole pattern was unique. And it looked a lot like the outsole pattern that's on the Rebel version 2. There's nothing wrong with it. But if it's pretty much the same outsole or a similar outsole, there was more rubber in there than that's necessary. So that gives me a little bit of concern for that shoe. So I can't wait to get it because everyone talks so highly of it. But I have some things that I want to look at specifically. Rick Sutter says, maybe the shoe drop differences don't bother you as much as others because you're a 4-foot striker. It could be. Yeah. That's probably it. But I also feel like a lot of people live in, I live in a very flat area, but lots of people live in areas that are not flat. I hear so many people saying, oh, it's just hilly. I don't matter where I go. Because every time people were like, oh, you're marathon training, I couldn't do that where I live because it's so hilly. Everything's just so hilly. When it's hilly, like the heel drop, like it becomes a negligible thing. So like it becomes more I don't know. It's not as consistent of an effect. So, and it has always kind of like confused me why people get so like caught up on a couple of millimeters on heel drop. But in their defense, I notice it. I can tell when I'm in a 4 millimeter drop shoe versus when I'm in an 8 millimeter drop shoe. But I also just don't think it's that big a deal. But yeah, I think everyone, that's the thing about running. Everyone's different. Brett Reed says, Co is the average Joe runner in terms of being able to run any shoe. Yeah, my unique ability, the thing that makes me particularly well suited for kind of, I guess, what I do now, which is I review things, is that I'm exceptionally average. So like my foot size is a US men's 9, which is reference shoe size. So like that's like the one that the shoe companies will typically make and send out for people to test. So that's easy. When I buy a jacket for like a suit, I'm a size 40 and it fits me perfectly. Although I've gotten a little bit smaller, so 40 doesn't fit me quite as perfectly as it used to, and that's kind of like the standard like size. Mediums usually fits me for everything. Like I'm so average. I'm like remarkably average. That's just me. I found a way that my averageness has become a strength. So. Speaking of stride versus cadence, Bryce says, I'm definitely a stride runner. I notice my cadence doesn't increase much when I run at faster paces. Interesting. Cool. My cadence increases a lot when I try to run faster. And, I don't know if I guess I've never plotted it out. And I suppose I could plot it out to see like what it does. But that seems like a lot of work. I think for me, like the easiest thing for me to do, I guess it's a very expensive way to figure out too, is when I get that Metaspeed Edge, I'll just buy that and see which one do I like better between the Metaspeed Edge and the Metaspeed Sky, so we'll see. Yeah, Spencer Holmes says, cheers to being average. Yep. I'll drink to being average. Colin McLaughlin says, uphills, I agree, heel stack ain't that important, but downhill, big heel stack is a great help. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, Shannon says the heel drop downhill is noticeable. It's hard to run slow. That's true. Yeah, I guess I oversimplified that. Yeah, you guys are right. Christopher Rochelle says, yo, been a while since been able to catch a live stream. This feels very grounding. Awesome. Very cool. Welcome back. Welcome back. Good to see you. Frank also says, feel a big heel drop the most going downhill. Yeah, I'm trying to think. That could also be like my blind spot. You know, the other way to think of it is like I just don't notice it that much. I'm trying to be more sensitive to like when I feel a shoe has a high arch. You know, that's something that I tend to not notice automatically on my own. So I've been trying to like be a little bit more like paying more close attention to that, because it is a question that comes up more frequently. But maybe like feeling the heel drop going downhill, that might be my blind spot. Stick on a Tree says, do you find that after wearing plated shoe for so much training, it's hard to go back to non-plated shoes because it just feels so different or sluggish? No, I don't feel like it's that different. I think though part of the reason why it doesn't bother me is I don't train by pace anymore, or I very rarely train by pace. So like, I don't care if it feels a little bit sluggish or not. I could just tell like if I'm putting in effort or not. That's kind of like whether it's by power or by heart rate, I go by that. And so that's kind of how I, gauge like the feel of the run. And the shoes, definitely I can feel a difference. But I don't think it's hard to go back to non-plated shoes. I mean, if you think about it though, like even when I'm in heavy training mode, which would be like 3 quality sessions a week, 2 workouts and 1 long run, at most I'd be running in plated shoes 3 days a week, and I'm still running the other 4 days a week in non-plated shoes. So I'm spending more than half my time still, even during heavy training. And from a time perspective, I'm probably spending more than half my time in non-plated shoes. So I don't think that's enough for it to feel like, yeah, these non-plated shoes feel strange. They feel different for sure. There's a difference there, but yeah, I don't think that for me, I don't feel like I'm spending an overwhelming amount of time. But I think that might change, not for me necessarily personally, but there are shoes like the Magic Speed, like the Endorphin Speed, and like the Deviate Nitro that are including plates or shanks or other systems in there. And those are shoes intended for not necessarily your fastest days, but for more daily training. So it could change, but yeah, I don't think it's a hard transition for me. All right, let's do a couple more, and then I gotta get going for today. All right, Monica and Who TV says, a quick question: shoe recommendation for an 8:30 pace half marathon. He's gonna run the full in Q4. 8:30 half marathon. I think Mach 4 would be a great choice. Rincon would be a really good choice too. Boston 9. Those would be Hyperion Tempo of the shoes that are out now. Endorphin Speed is pretty much always a good choice. So those are some that I would look at. And those are also shoes that you could also take for your marathon as well. So I think the Mach 4 can go the marathon distance. But probably for the marathon, I'd probably look more heavily towards the Endorphin Speed. All right. Mark Sinderson says, I'm looking forward to running a race based on power to see what the result is. Yeah. So like I'm doing the same. See, the thing is like I train by power, and then on marathon time, I use pace. So I'm like, I think for the 50K that I'm going to do, I'm going to try and stick a lot closer to the power number. Just cause like, I don't really know how to, I spend so little time at that distance and also at that pace. And I'm just like, I don't know how to like, discipline myself or like stay disciplined. So that'd be something I'll probably spend a lot more time looking at the power number, although it's really hilly. And I feel like that makes training by like racing by power a little bit difficult. I mean, if it's rolling hills, that's one thing, but when it's like lots of like uphills, and I did find an elevation map with a lot of like it's a lot of just straight up and straight down. So none of that fun, like gradual downhill stuff, just like straight up, straight down. So that'll be interesting. But yeah. Spence Ohms says endorphin speed is what I'll be doing for my 8:30 pace half marathon. So good luck with yours. All right. So there you go. You'll be in good company if you bring endorphin speed. All right. Let's do this one and then win for today. Rivali I says, I've been running a year, running first marathon in October. Awesome. Feeling confident training loads. Do you think it's wise to aim for a time? Really want a sub 3:30? Yeah. I mean, I think if you're feeling, if you're feeling good training, I think having a goal time in mind is useful because it kind of just gives a focus to your training en route. I mean, the other way to do it is to train based on like effort levels, a power number, for example, and then let the pace fall wherever it does. But I think that like, when you're running your first one, you might not yet have a sense for like, how do I do a training plan based on like 5K times and 10K times and threshold paces. Like running based on those numerical paces might be like the easiest, most accessible way to train. I'm not sure what training methods you are using. So like, I think that it's totally okay to be shooting for a time for your first marathon. It's also totally okay to just get out there and be like, I don't know, I'm going to run it. I'm going to try to just stay really disciplined and make it feel easy for the first at least half marathon, maybe start picking it up in, around 15 or 16. Hopefully you can wait till like mile 20 before you really start like picking it up. But, that's totally cool too. And then let the time be what the time is. That's another approach as well. But I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to shoot for a time. All right. But I mean, I will say one last thing on that is like, make sure that like your training is like setting you up for success en route to that. Right. So like, that's something that, hopefully you're either have a plan or some sort of training schedule that you're following that can get you there. All right. I got to get going for today. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Tomorrow's video, there might be a video tomorrow. If there is, it'll be either like a run meditation video. I brought the 360 camera out today. Maybe I'll talk over it or maybe I won't. I'm not sure yet. But so that might be tomorrow or there might not be a video tomorrow. But so we'll kind of play it by ear. But we will do another live stream in the afternoon tomorrow, 3 p.m. Central Time, same time as today. Hopefully I'll see you again. And in the meantime, be safe out there, everybody.